Good morning. I'd like to call the Lyon County Board of County Commissioners to order. Today is Thursday, June 18th, 2026, 9 o'clock a.m. The Board of County Commissioners convene as other boards. Members of the Board of County Commissioners also serve as the Liquor Board, Central Lyon Vector Control District Board, Mason Valley Mosquito Abatement District Board, Walker River Weed Control District Board, Willow Creek General Improvement District Board, the Silver Springs General Improvement District Board, and during this meeting, we convene as any of those boards as indicated on this or a separately posted agenda. This meeting may break between 11:30 and 1:30 for lunch. All commissioners are present and in chambers. The invocation will be given by Gary Luce of Calvary Chapel, Dayton Valley, and the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Commissioner Hockaday to lead us in that. So please stand.
Morning. Heavenly Father, we come to you today with gratitude and humility, acknowledging that every good gift comes from you and that you alone are sovereign over the affairs of men. Your word reminds us that you raise up and remove leaders and that true wisdom only comes from your hand. Lord, as our county and our country continues through this primary election season and political process, we ask for a spirit of unity where there's differences in opinions. May there also be a mutual respect and shared purpose for the people that they serve. Father, on this eve of our nation's 250th anniversary, we're reminded of the words of Benjamin Franklin, that during the Constitutional Convention, he said, "I have lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more I'm convinced of these proofs that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that the empire can rise without his aid?" Franklin urged those gathered to seek your help, recognizing that apart from your guidance, there would be no success. So, Lord, we ask for the same humility today. Guard us from pride and self-reliance, and may those who serve not lean on human understanding, but seek wisdom that comes from above. So grant discernment in decisions, integrity in leadership, and courage to do what is right. And Lord, we pray for your protection over our county, families, first responders, public servants, businesses, schools, and churches. Bless this county with health, with safety, and with prosperity. And these things we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This brings us to public participation. Public participation. No action will be taken on any item until it is properly agendized. It is anticipated that public participation will be held at this time, though it may be returned to at any time during the agenda. Citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record and will be limited to 3 minutes. The board will conduct public comment after discussion on each agenda item, but before the board takes any action. Do we have any public participation in the room? Please step up to the podium. Lectern.
For the record, this is Robin Biggs of Yerington. Who laid back up 14A on the table from the Nevada Data Center Alliance. Really happy with your support. well, Nevada Data Center Alliance, Washoe County memorandum on data centers in the city of Reno, Nevada. The city, we're not understanding why you just go by the law and won't do this. I'm talking for the silent majority. The city of Reno Council has enacted a moratorium on accepting new conditional use permits applications for data centers within a city limit. It passed 6-1 vote. The pass was set through late August unless the city officials adopt stricter regulations regarding utility and resource consumption before then. While the moratorium has significantly altered development in Reno proper, the regional landscape remains complex due to the varying jurisdiction. The city of Reno's limits paused the data center due to concerns over water and electricity usage, noise, and air quality. It does not impact currently permitted projects such as the ones in Keystone Avenue. Washoe County, the county has been studying the data center impacts, and the policy consortiums and planning departments reviewing development standards for unincorporated. Story County, the Lake Tahoe Industrial, located in the neighboring Story County, just outside of Reno jurisdiction, continues to operate independently as a major hub. The Nevada Data Center Alliance and its group policy consortiums and advocacies like Sierra Club are actively engaged in shaping the regulations. This is just not good for Lyon County. None of it. It's noise. It's making people sick. And you're not listening to the public. Things are being passed and you're not listening. You listen to everything. You look at all. If you're looking at all this, you just defy it and pass things and keep them going. It's the water. They're not doing it properly in Lyon County, Nevada. And we had the video, we had the gal from UNR give a good solar panels and bad solar panels.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
My name's Leo Solari. I was at the meeting prior to this for the planning commission meeting. And there was no legal proof of service of that meeting. The date that they showed that meeting for the public to be there was today's date for this meeting in the newspaper. So that's incomplete. When they made this proposal and showed us this, they show only Lyon County. It doesn't show the mating in the same wire going to the next county. How can we proceed with our side when they haven't been approved on their side yet? There's too many holes in this. They don't address anything on dust. And as far as this hasn't been approved yet, but they're already stacking material up by my house, running the trucks up and down the dirt roads that aren't, there's no paved, there's no gravel, there's no water. The biggest dust bowl I've ever seen. Anyway, I'm not happy with this. I hope this doesn't get pushed through today because there's too many holes in the planning commission's meeting. When you click on proof of publication, it shows today's date, be here. Doesn't show the date of the planning commission. No one was at the planning commission meeting. I don't think the public was properly served. And thanks for everything you guys do. Have a good morning.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none in the room, none online, we'll close public comment. Brings us to number 5 for possible action, review and adoption of the agenda. Is anything being pulled off the agenda?
Yes, I need to pull item 14B.
14B is B.
B is in boy.
Okay, then I'll bring it back to the board for,
Move to approve the agenda as posted, polling 14B.
second. We have a motion by Commissioner Hendrick, second by Commissioner Hockaday, but before I go, is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll go to the vote. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. This brings us to time certain, 6A, time certain, 6:00 a.m. for possible action. Presentation from Assistant Fire Chief Lyon McIntosh of the Central Lyon Fire Protection District and the Silver City Volunteer Firefighters regarding the old historic fire station in Silver City and the proposal for historic preservation and restoration, discussion and possible direction to the county manager in regards to the conveyance and deed transfer from the county to the Central Lyon Fire Protection District, request by Commissioner Casanelli.
Good morning, Chair and Board of County Commissioners. Thank you for having us, and I'd like to especially thank Commissioner Casanelli for putting this on the agenda and for inviting us out to give a presentation to you on what we'd like to see with the historic Silver City Volunteer Fire Department station on Main Street in Silver City. With me this morning, I have Chief McHark, our Fire Chief for Central Lyon County Fire District, and Assistant Fire Chief Shaylee Haugen of the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department, and her father, grandfather, Jim Allender, who's been with the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department for a really long time and has probably seen the transition from the county to the fire district and everything else. So he's a lifelong honorary member of the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department. So I'll introduce myself, Ryan McIntosh. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief with Central Lyon County and for you this morning, and I'll try to be courteous of your time because I looked at your agenda and you guys got a long day ahead of you. So with that, I've got a brief presentation with some PowerPoint slides to support the backup documentation or correspondence that I provided to you guys ahead of time. And that correspondence that you guys have is kind of the records of where we sit with what we attempted at one time in 2019 to get a deed transfer or conveyance of the historic volunteer fire station into the ownership of Central Lyon County Fire, so we can work with the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department to at least keep the old building from collapsing and hopefully restore it and maintain that historic value. And so I'm here this morning representing both of those organizations. And Silver City Volunteer Fire Department, they are their own 501c3, but operationally they fall within the Central Lyon County Fire Protection District. So independent but combined. And so this is a quick picture of the historic fire station that we're talking about at 140 Main Street in Silver City. Next slide, please. So currently the property is owned by the county, and the address is 140 Main Street, Silver City, and the APN is 008-012-01. So next slide. And so the history of Silver City Volunteer Fire Department and the historic building itself. The Volunteer Fire Department was established in 1863. The building was built in 1901, and the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department is the longest standing volunteer fire department in the state of Nevada. So that their organization has significant historic value. Next slide, please. Central Lyon County Fire District, and here I'm trying to blend the relationship of the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department with the fire district and also the history of that property's ownership from the county and how it's moved basically through time to the fire district. And so the fire district was established on April 14th in 1971 by commission action and operated under the county commission until 1993, at which point through county commission action, the district was reorganized on July 30th, 1993, to provide for a board of trustees composed of locally elected residents. And at that point, 1993, That's when the Central Lyon County Fire Protection District and all the entities, the volunteer fire departments underneath it fell under the organizational control of the district rather than the county. And so since 1993, some of those properties that were owned by the county that belonged to the newly formed fire district came over. And however, this one property didn't. And so it's been under ownership of the county since then. And I gave a phone call to County Facilities Manager Doug Homestead yesterday to see if he had this property on his roll of the county facilities that he's been maintaining and taking care of. And he said he wasn't even aware that the county owned this property. So next slide, please. So the goals, why does Central Lyon and the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department want to take ownership and receive the deed transfer to this property? Prior to 2019, when we started working with the county to obtain this property, we tried to apply for a community development block grant. And part of that process made us realize that we had to have ownership of the building for us to be able to do that. And so we started the process, former Fire Chief Rich Harvey and County DA Steve Rye started working on the title search and surveying, and all that was completed in 2019. And so what we would like to do is gain ownership, work with the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department and their 501c3 to be able to preserve and stabilize the building. We want to do that through fundraising and grants through the fire district and their 501c3. And the goals are to establish a historical significance of the property and its relationship to the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department, but more than that, the community of Silver City. We want to work with the community resources to be able to do that because Silver City is a very tight-knit community and they have a lot of willing members in the community that have trade skill that are willing to donate time to be able to restore the fire station. And then in the end, the big goal is to get the historic bell remounted to the bell mount up top as a sign that restoration has been completed. And the last kind of goal is to, if we're able to accomplish all this, put in an application and try to get it registered with the National Registry of Historic Places to kind of memorialize the significance of this property in the volunteer fire department history and the Silver City Volunteer Fire Department. Next slide, please. So the goal is to preserve and stabilize. We want to work with those local historians, craftsmen, and preservation experts. We want to fund this through grants, volunteer donation of time and materials, donors and fundraisers. We want to promote local history, historical preservation and its significance, especially as it relates to the fire district, the volunteer fire department, Nevada, the community of Silver City, and the Comstock. And we want to improve the visibility and beautification of Main Street through Silver City. And so here's some pictures I grabbed of the building. You can see its current state of repair. This is the picture to the far left is the siding on the side of the building that gets all the morning sun. You can see that siding of the building is decaying. The second picture is a picture of the foundation of the building. The building isn't even on a proper foundation. And so to stabilize it, it's going to need a foundation underneath it. You can see the repair of the old windows. And then there's kind of the top right is the picture of that morning sun side. And you can see the decay of the wooden structure that needs to be stabilized. And so there's a picture of the bell mount. The bell is no longer there. The bell's sitting in the current volunteer fire department mezzanine, hoping to be restored and put back up there. And so one more slide. There's the bell, and the bell is from 1859. It's a Vickers and Company bell number 1005. And so I think so where do we stand today? Why are we in front of you and what we would like to see? And so I got the image in here. It's part of the backup I gave you guys where it shows that the surveying and title search have been completed back in 2019. We've had communication with County DA Steve Rye back in 2019. And since our previous fire chief has retired. And so what we're trying to do is pick up where we left off in 2019 and try to get that deed transfer back to the fire district. So that way we can work to stabilize and preserve the fire station. And I believe under NRS 277 between the two local government entities, we should be able to accomplish that deed transfer if you guys are willing to take action on our behalf. Thank you for your guys' time and for allowing us to present, and I'm here for any questions.
Commissioner
Maybe
Hicks?
maybe Commissioner Casanova wants to go first and see.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate the presentation today. And when I first heard of this, I talked to Mr. Allender's daughter and I was a little bit surprised, but that it's been going on, what, 7 years since you first initiated the potential transfer, and that building doesn't have another 7 years in it. So I think it's really important historical preservation, being a multi-generational family in this area. We need to be cognizant of our history and our historical buildings, and I would be all for Central Lyon and Silver City Fire, doing good things with this and getting it stabilized, and I think it's a great project. So appreciate the presentation.
Commissioner Hicks?
Obviously, I'm all for this, but what a treasure. So in 2019, did it, what?
In 2019, did it just fall through this deed transfer and this stuff, or?
Yeah, but I believe so, Commissioner Jacobson, 2019, you look at when we had that survey and title transfer, 8 of 2019. 4 months later, the world was shut down during COVID. And so COVID kept us all really busy for the next 2 or 3 years, focusing on our day-to-day operations. And there's no real pinpoint on when we lost sight of this. It just lost sight and has come back for us to pick up the pieces where they were left off. And so, you know how it is. Running a county is not easy. Running a fire district is not easy. And the last 6 years, I think, for both entities have been significantly busy. So we're just great opportunity for us to pick up the pieces where we left off.
Well, it's a miracle it's still standing. I mean, with the wind and rain but I'd just like to thank the gentleman here today for his service with the volunteer fire department for all the years, and Mr. McIntosh and Casanelli, thank you both for bringing this forward. And obviously I support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hendricks?
Yeah, I really support this. I think it's a great idea. I'm assuming you're already having conversations with the Comstock Historical District, because I'm sure they'll have some input on that.
I personally have not. Shirley can probably answer that.
Okay.
So. They're much tighter in the Comstock community than we are, working our admin office down in Dayton, and Silver City is much more intertwined with the Comstock, and they play that important role for our organization.
So I got a couple of questions. I have a little history with that building, back when they formed the Comstock Foundation for History and Culture. That was one of the buildings I went out and looked in, because I was the building side of that. And when I went out there, I believe on my report, the only thing that was left to save was the bell, because everything was rotted out. I basically have to rebuild everything, foundation, all that. So I make sure you guys know what you're up against, because I looked at that and I was like, well, I'd love to have that bell, but the siren or whatever that's there, but there's not a lot. So my second question is this under the purview of the fire department to do history and stuff? Or do you see what I'm saying? Because seems it should go to a foundation for history and culture type thing. Or how does that work within, because you're going to be spending manpower to that, or is it all on volunteer basis?
So the fire district intends to not spend any of our tax-based revenue to provide emergency services on the restoration, at least trying to provide, long-term rest and decay to keep it from collapsing. We don't intend to spend a single penny of our budget on this. That we need first to get ownership, so then we can work with the 501c3 of the volunteer fire department to be able to raise funds and apply for grants together with the fire district. So we intend to do it all through grants and fundraising, and not spend any tax revenue on it.
That's where I was going with that. So that's all I had. Is there any public comment on this?
Just real quick, Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager, not public comment, but I do want to say that I think staff supports this. When Commissioner Casanelli brought this up, I had to do some research. I didn't even realize that we owned this building. As Chief McIntosh pointed out, it was not on our list of maintained buildings. And so, you know, I think, as was pointed out, I think this kind of got lost in the COVID situation. So I think this is a good thing.
Now we'll go to public comment. Is there any public comment?
Jim DeChambeau. I think this is a good deal, but I think the county ought to step up to this since they've owned this building for so many years and not maintained it. And maybe it's about time that they amended the mistakes they've made over the years on this and give some money to this building. It should have been maintained.
Is there any other public comment? Seeing none in the room, none online, I bring it back to the board for a motion and probably look to Commissioner Casanelli for that.
I'll take a stab at it. Thank you. So I move to approve transfer of the deed and title for the historic fire station at 140 Main Street, Silver City Town Site to Central Lyon County Fire Protection District, APN 008-012-01.
Second.
I heard a couple, so I'll go with Commissioner Hendricks.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. I'm just wondering if you could amend that just to authorize me to sign the documents.
Sure.
And
Read the whole thing again?
No, just and
And authorize the county manager to sign the required documentation.
And does your second
Second
still
stands.
stand? So we got a motion by Commissioner Casanelli, second by Commissioner Hendricks. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. Congratulations on your acquisition, and now you've got stuff to do. Okay, that brings us to 6B, time certain at 9:00 a.m. Public hearing. Bills 2602 for possible action, approving ordinance initiating the creation of North Lyon County Power General Improvement District in accordance with NRS 318050, NRS 318055. County Manager Andrew Haskins. I'm gonna have to read that in the, if this gets approved in that long thing. Go ahead.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager for the record. This is the second hearing of the initiating ordinance for the North Lyon Power General Improvement District. This ordinance sets the hearing date for July 2nd for the creation ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I already did the presentation on this a while back, so happy to revisit anything that the board has questions.
Does the board have any questions? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment.
Robin Diggs for the record. These the proof of publications, I mean, we're not seeing that. Where would it says that all the citizens that are affected by what's going on here would be notified or were notified. I'm just not seeing enough detail here. This just doesn't seem right. All these proof, this is the July 2nd one. I remember that. And there's going to be a meeting. I'm understanding. I don't know if this is the one where I spoke at the last meeting saying that this room cannot support it. I don't know. This just. This is NV Energy, you know, and everything's NV Energy, all these data centers. All the inappropriate. Mega solar panels, they're not the right height to protect the environment. You saw. The presentation from the gal from UNR. And it just keeps going, it just keeps going, and the public comment, you just keep ignoring it. And you just keep doing what you want to do, and it's all going to be NV Energy, all these solar panels, all these data centers, everything's going to become NV Energy, and it's not. It's just not being done in Lyon County to protect the watershed. And the environment. And the land, and they've already started on it. I mean, it's a dust bowl out there. And it's concerning that we don't have on the planning commission or here anyone from Yerington. Something's very wrong with this process. Thank you.
Any other public comment in the room? And I do want to point out, this is North Lyon Fire. North Lyon Power.
Okay, on the approval from the planning commission, they didn't show us a map of which properties are going across. It shows us listed parcels, like I know you don't want to go through that whole list of all the private properties. But nowhere do they talk about talking to the neighbors who are within a quarter mile of this, because it's not on their property. That is a visual distraction.
It's a different
You're
project.
different, you're talking about a different, completely
Okay.
different thing.
I'm sorry. My apology.
Okay. Any other public comment in the room? Okay, closing public comment in the room, going online, Justina Benner. Go on and mute yourself. If she doesn't come on, I'm gonna have to close it. Oh. Okay, she's not responding, so we'll move on. Okay. Bringing it back to the board for discussion or motion.
I'll move to approve an ordinance initiating the creation of the North Lyon County Power General Improvement District in accordance with NRS 318.050 and NRS 318.055.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hockaday, second by Commissioner Jacobson. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, we're gonna move on to time certain, 9:30 a.m. for possible presentation only. Presentation by the from the group on federal lobbying efforts. This was requested by Commissioner Hendricks. And I think we have Porter Group online. Oh, Bob's in the room. I should have looked around.
Chairman, it's okay. Good morning, Commission. How are you? Good to see you this morning. Madam Vice Chair, nice to see you as well. Commissioners, it's a pleasure to be in front of you this morning. We have, this was an item that we have been trying to get out and get on the calendar with you, and finally had an opportunity to bring it forward in front of you today. So I wanted to, I have a quick presentation for you this morning to kind of give you an up-to-date kind of progress of where we are with your federal representation on behalf of the Porter Group. It is our pleasure to represent Lyon County. We have represented you since 2003 and feel that is we have done a phenomenal job for you. Hopefully you think so as well. So I'm going to ask next slide, please.
Can you please state your name for the record and sign in?
My name is Bob Lucy. I am the Nevada Senior Advisor for the Porter Group and also a Director of Policy and Advocacy for the Porter Group. As you can see, the Porter Group, we are a bipartisan strategic consultant that we are based out of Washington, DC. We have the privilege of having Commissioner Hendricks and Commissioner Keller join us in Washington, DC this year for the National Association of Counties meeting, and had some opportunities to take the commissioners around to work with our Nevada delegation. We pride ourselves as a Nevada-based consulting group, started by Congressman John Porter, and we have been focused on Nevada issues for quite some time, but have wonderful relationships with all of our Nevada delegation. And we continue to provide that unique experience for a number of our municipalities throughout the state. Lyon County be one of those municipalities that we do represent. We're very fortunate in Northern Nevada to not only represent Lyon County, but we also represent Washoe, Story County, Carson City, Lander County, and the city of Yerington, and the city of Fernley, and the city of Sparks. And so with that, I would like to go to the next slide, please. A little brief overview of what we kind of cover for Lyon County when back in DC. We focus mostly on transportation and infrastructure, federal grants and appropriations. I think those are the biggest things that we focus on for Lyon County. But public lands and federal management is right up there with that, making sure that we consistently working with the Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management, and a number of different federal agencies within DC and here within the state. We also work on a number of things such as education, workforce, technology, defense, travel, tourism, gaming. One of the major things that we focused on is not only advocacy, but we focus on capital fly-ins, try to bring as many of our Nevada representatives, local and state representatives out to Washington, DC to have interaction. And I would be remiss if I did not mimic the words of Congressman Porter, that it is important for your representation to be present in Washington, DC, to hear the issues that are going on, not only within your county, but within your state that are impacting you as a county. So next slide. I want to introduce you to the Porter Group staff. This is our senior staff that represents Lyon County. All of these members have an active role, take an active role working with Lyon County staff, with the county manager and his team, and also interacting with the commissioners from time to time. Congressman John Porter served in the U.S. Congress representing CD1 down in Las Vegas. Prior to that, he was a state senator, mayor of Boulder City, had a number, so understands not only local government and state government, and now federal government. So a wide array. And his son, Chris Porter Jr., is the partner and managing partner of the operations. We have Stephanie Walker, who is our senior vice president, and Ben Rosenbaum. Then our newest addition, who is online, joining with me online, is Bradley Solian, who represented a congresswoman from Florida for a number of years as her legislative director. Has a wide understanding around appropriations and federal policy. And then myself, Bob Lucy, I served as a Washoe County Commissioner for 8 years. I worked with Governor Lombardo as his infrastructure coordinator, and now I'm with the as a director of policy and advocacy for the Porter Group staff. I want to touch on some of the work that we've been working on for Lyon County. And as I pointed out earlier, it was a pleasure to have Commissioner Keller and Commissioner Hendricks back there in DC earlier this year to discuss some of the needs around Lyon County, and kind of the discussion that this county has voted on resolutions to move forward with, which is the new Lyon County Lands Bill. As of today, we've had some wonderful conversations with both senators' offices about the needs and the assessment of the Lyon County Lands Bill and what we can do moving forward, and have had some great feedback and have been working with the manager around that. They have given us some tips and some kind of direction about how they'd like to see the bill drafted. Currently, in the Senate, you have Senator Mike Lee from Utah, who is the majority leader in the committee for the Committee on Public Lands and Natural Resources, is where majority of the lands bills go through. And then the minority leader would be Senator Heinrichsen. We have worked with them continuously on a number of lands bills, specifically Carson City's lands bills that is getting a kind of a redraft and some changes to the language to fix some things from their previous lands bill. The Truckee Meadows lands bill with Washoe County, we are currently in process of working on. And also we work closely with Congressman Amade's office on his Northern Nevada lands bill. So this legislative year is very short, based around this is an election year, and we're going to see some major changes on Capitol Hill with the federal representation in Congress. And with that, more than likely, in these years, we see a major slowdown from about now until November, with Congress only addressing probably major issues. And as we all know that we have major foreign issues going on with the disputes with Iran and different things going on. We are still waiting to pass this year's fiscal budget. It's hopefully going to the president's desk soon to get finalized for this fiscal year of 26. The Congress has already started on fiscal year 27 in appropriations, but we are still waiting for the finalization of this year's financial bill for fiscal year 26. Next slide. Some other major federal bills and news that we want to kind of bring to your attention. As I mentioned, Congressman Amade is still working to get a vote on the floor for his Northern Nevada lands bill. He's been negotiating and working with Speaker Johnson to hopefully get that moving forward before he departs at the end of the year. We meet continuously with his staff and are being kept up to date and monitoring that bill on a day-to-day basis. As you know, the Republicans have been using the reconciliation process to fund ICE and border control portions of the Department of Homeland Security and through the end of the president's term. And so with that, there are some other things that they'll need to continue to discuss in Congress, both in the House and in the Senate, to make sure that they can come to some sort of an agreement on ongoing funding for the Department of Homeland Security. There are discussions around a third reconciliation bill that would be focused on government efficiency, combating fraud and waste. We've seen that since the president took office for his second term. And then their focus is around also housing and then energy permitting reform. So we will keep track of that. And I think that those are prudent issues that are impacting Lyon County and the municipalities within the county. Congress is still working through the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, which would be a phenomenal opportunity for local and state government to provide low-cost housing and different incentives through tax rebates and different modes to get those incentives not only back to the municipalities, but also to potential developers and home builders to make sure that those are the reality and that we bring cost of living down and make that more affordable for our working citizens and constituents within your districts. We are continuing to monitor actions of the administrations with their executive orders that may impact Lyon County. And as those come up, we will relay them. We do have a bi-weekly call with management to discuss those issues and anything that they see as fit. So any concerns that you may see at the federal level, please reach out to the manager, or you can reach out to myself. The chairman has my cell phone number, so he can track me down at any minute if you so chooses, but we can work that out for you if you have any other questions. All right, next slide. So on the next Congress, as the opposing party of the president historically picks up seats during the midterm elections, we're going to see some major changes in Congress. We'll probably have a large freshman class, both in the Congress and in Senate, because of not just natural retirements, but people that are choosing not to seek re-election. And so, but there's also been a major change in redistricting throughout the US. So we will all see in November how that shakes out. There is possibility that the House may change back over to the Democrats, and the Republicans will lose control of the House. The Senate may maybe narrowly keep the Senate. We're hoping and seeing what will happen there. Either way, we'll monitor that situation and make sure that we have an eye on that. So one thing I do want to bring to your attention that we do focus on at the Porter Group on behalf of Lyon County are appropriations. And when I speak of appropriations, it is one of the major focuses we have is congressional district spending, CDS funding. With the passing of earmarks years ago, Congress decided that this was a more viable way to bring funds back from the federal government and place them right into the districts for both the Senate and members of Congress, so that they can fund projects through municipal governments. Now, this funding is specifically for government agencies and can only be applied for government agencies. I can say that Lyon County has done a phenomenal job. And your manager Haskin, has done a bang-up job in making sure that the needs of Lyon County have been addressed going forward, both on an infrastructure level, but also at a human services level, and a number of different needs that Lyon County is experiencing. Lyon County is at a pivotal time in its tenure as a county. 1861. It's a long time to be a county, and we're moving into that'll be almost 150 years, or over 150 years of being a county. And so as we're continuing to grow as a county and as a state, I think it's going to be important that we continue to rely on our Nevada delegation, both Senators Catherine Cortez Masto and Senators Jackie Rosen, and currently Congressman Mark Amodei, who's been a strong advocate for Lyon County, but whoever will replace him in the general election in November, hopefully we can push them to continue with focus around the CDS funding, because it has proven to be very beneficial. So with the next slide, I do want to show you some of the successes that we have brought forth for Lyon County since our initial inception of representing Lyon County at the federal level. As you can see on the page, roughly in FY23, we brought forth 119,000 for youth mentoring, 2.5 million for the Grosh water main replacement, 673 for the youth mobile crisis team for your DHS department, and the Miller Ayazi intersection realignment was 2.2 million. Unfortunately, in 25, it was a CR year, so we were not so that unfortunately pushed forth our requests that year, and we weren't able to get any funds. But this last year, we were just awarded 1.9 million for sewer rehabilitation, 240,000 for the generator project, 90,000 for the mobile crisis co-responder vehicles, and then the Mount House Community Center to the tune of 600,000. Going forward, the CPFs that we have introduced this year and are currently pending and have been slated by the delegation to move forward is the Rolling A to South Plant Effluent Pumping lift station, and that will be $1 million, and that's been included in the House bill. Lift station 4 rehabilitation, that's $1 million that'll be has been included in the House bill. And both senators have selected those projects as well as they are considering the El Dorado water project for their consideration. And so hopefully we will see more from them as the appropriation process moves through this summer. And usually we will get notified by the appropriations committees and around the end of the year, about November, December. Once we have those, we will move forward with securing those for the next fiscal year, which will move into July of 27. So with that, that concludes my presentation to you this morning about our representation for Lyon County. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and present in front of you, and hopefully more frequently now, as we have a Nevada representative who understands the state and understands what you individuals do on a day-to-day basis. And I want to thank you for your service. I understand that most people don't understand what it takes to sit in those seats. I do, and it's very challenging to make those decisions from time to time. I had the great pleasure to serve with Commissioner Keller and his wife, Vida, when she past commissioner, and it's been a privilege to work with the individuals of Lyon County. So thank you for your time. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? I do want to point out you were also the president of NACO for a term, and so you understand all of Northern Nevada, but you're out of Washoe. And so you definitely know what's going on around here. And I do want to point out a couple of things that I think kind of glossed over when you were talking about how your lobbyist efforts are put forward. You guys have created quite the bipartisan group, right? It doesn't matter. You were talking about the elections, but it doesn't really matter because of the way you guys have positioned yourselves to where whoever's there, you're ready to talk to and get what we need from Lyon County. So to me, that was really important as far as what you guys do. And also how you showed how everything, we have to keep things in the pipeline. Because we don't get everything approved all the time, but we have to keep it there to keep moving forward.
That's correct.
Right. And so I just wanted to hit on those couple of spots.
Thank you, Chairman. And I, just to dovetail off your comment, you're absolutely right. We do have, not only within our organization, we have quite the bipartisan representation within our organization, but as a state, as we all know, we have 6 members that represent us in Washington, D.C., 5 of those being Democrats and 1 Republican. So it is very important for us to have a bipartisan effort. It is not only mutually beneficial for us, but mutually beneficial for them to understand these issues and to see both sides and have that that greater perspective on how issues impact from both sides. So with that being said, we do take pride in the idea that we are bipartisan in that focus. And as you pointed out, it is important that we continuously ask and find those appropriations and things and the needs of our community and how you see that they can be better improved and with the help of federal dollars, whether it's issues around public lands and lands bills, whether it's issues around infrastructure and roads and transportation, schools and education, cooperative extension and outreach from NCHE. It is important that we continue to have those discussions and see how we can continue to make Lyon County a growing community for all the municipalities and residents within Lyon County. So,
and one last thing is that when I attended the rack up there last year for the fly-in, you had a member of your office that attended the meetings with me, so that your office would know exactly what we were pushing at the NACO side on behalf of Lyon County, and you guys weren't out of the loop. You guys said, "Yep, we're in. We'll listen and help me with that effort." So I appreciate that a lot, because that was above and beyond to me. So,
well, we try to pride ourselves so that our offices are always open to you. If you make it to Washington, D.C., please reach out to us. If you need a place to come in and make phone calls, even if it's not on official business and you need somewhere to be, our offices are located at 101 Constitution, conveniently located right across from Capitol Hill, where a majority of our team are. And I'm in Reno, as Commissioner Keller pointed out. I can come at the drop of a hat and be out here and meet with you in person if need be. So we're happy, we're responsive, and like I said, we're happy to go above and beyond, because we believe in that is really what the type of representation the rural counties and all counties deserve. And we believe that there should be no difference. And so we want to continue to do that. And as it works with NACO, as the commissioner pointed out, as a president of NACO, it was an experience for me, not only to understand not just my county and the needs of my county and represent my county at the state level, but also work with a number of all the counties both north and south to understand the issues. And I was very fortunate to lead the state legislative issues and policy direction at the state level for a number of legislative sessions, which we're going into, which will be also another interesting session this year. Hopefully we will be able to resolve some of the issues around budget and some of the things that the governor and the Assembly and the Senate have to deal with, and some of these bills that are going to be coming up. And it's impactful. These unfunded mandates sometimes that are thrust down upon the counties have tremendous impacts to the smaller counties with smaller populations, and they don't realize that. And that's where NACO plays a major impact. And so being that I was a representative of NACO, I still have those ties and work closely with NACO, both here at the state level, and we work with national NACO and the CEO, Matt Chase, very well, and continue to push Nevada issues such as workforce development, housing, and infrastructure with them at the legislative level in DC. So it is important, your continued involvement, and we want to make sure that we create those pathways for you if need be.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Follow up? Commissioner Hendricks.
I just want to thank you for coming out and giving the presentation.
My
It's a
pleasure.
pleasure working with you guys.
Pleasure. It was a pleasure working with you, Commissioner Hendricks. It was an honor to serve and to be able to take you guys around, and it was really my honor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to 6E, six D. Time certain, 9:30 a.m. for possible action for a 36-month contract effective July 1st, 2026 with Porter Group LLC for federal government affairs consulting services. The contract amount is $270,750 per month plus allowable travel expenses. County Manager Andrew Haskin.
I was gonna, oh, you mind, go ahead.
I don't know. Your name's on the agenda.
We didn't have a chance to coordinate before the meeting. Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So before you is a 3-year contract renewal for the Porter Group at $7,500 a month. As you can see from their presentation, they've been successful in helping us bring in significant dollars into Lyon County. Just about $7.4 million for the state utilities alone. Those are dollars that we don't have to raise rates and have the ratepayers pay for projects that have to get done. So it brings in a significant benefit to Lyon County. Happy to answer any questions, and obviously the group is here as well.
So do we have any questions from the board? Okay, then we'll go to public comment.
Robin Diggs for the record. I think we're truly blessed to have Bob Lacey here from Washington, DC. I have stated this at this meeting, at the commissioner planning meeting, at city hall meetings. Kimberly Dow, is a district office director for the BLM in Carson City. She was short-staffed for years and years and years. And our BLM land has been sold statewide at an alarming rate to NV Energy, McGreedlink. The office was not staffed by law. Matthew E. McGalletti recently hired to fill the year-long vacancy as field manager. Now there is an hydrologist on board, and Lisa Ross, public affairs specialist, was hired in the Carson City office. The field manager was vacant, and the study of whether or not the BLM could be considered to sell the land to the Green Link. Was not done. Kim Dow, the BLM director, would have needed to send it to the state BLM personnel, and the state BLM would have sent it to the federal level. We were shorthanded we did not have the federal, the state individual or the federal individual there. And recently we do have some men, but MV Energy has not done any of the studies that has submitted anything as far as how this affects the Native American, the intertribal. It should have gone to the state intertribal. It should have gone to the federal intertribal Indian affairs. They're not considering the how this endangers the wildlife, the migratory birds, the land. I would hope that Mr. Dow would, Bob Lacy would Lucy would look into this, because this land, all BLM land statewide, has been sold off illegally to MV Energy and all their endeavors. And they're just destroying our watershed statewide. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none in the room and none online, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve a 36-month contract effective July 1st, 2026 with Porter Group LLC for federal government affairs consulting services. The contract amount is $270,750 per month plus allowable travel expenses.
A second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hendricks, second by Commissioner Casanelli. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Bob. Okay, we're going to move on to time certain 9:45 a.m. for possible action presentation given by Mike Kellogg from JE4 and to adopt the Gold Canyon Area Drainage Master Plan.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. My name is Mike Kellogg. I'm with JE4 Hydrology and Geomorphology, and I was invited today to present a recently completed study within portions of Lyon County, the Gold Canyon Area Drainage Master Plan. An Area Drainage Master Plan, or ADMP, is the acronym we like to use. It's kind of a long saying, so I'll use the acronym throughout my presentation. An ADMP is a planning level study to assess flooding hazards and flood risk within a watershed. They can include just a single water course, but quite often it's the entire watershed. For this study, we looked at the Gold Canyon watershed in its entirety. The general goals of an ADMP are to develop a comprehensive understanding of the flood risk within all areas of the watershed, both developed and undeveloped areas. Once we understand what the existing condition flood risk is, we identify potential problem areas where flooding is a problem, and then come up with some mitigation solutions, projects, things to help reduce flood risk to the residents and businesses within that watershed. So this project was funded through what's called a cooperative technical partner grant from FEMA. Carson Water Subconservancy District obtained the grant. This was a collaborative project between Carson Water Subconservancy District, Lyon County, and Story County. The consultant team for this was JE4 and Lumos and Associates. This is the watershed that we studied. So Gold Canyon begins up near Virginia City. The watershed, the major community areas within the watershed is the community of Divide, Gold Hill, Silver City, and then down at the very bottom of the watershed, Dayton, So Gold Canyon itself begins up in the mountains, as you see in this figure, and is a tributary to the Carson River. Gold Canyon confluences with the Carson River right at the bottom of the watershed there. So this particular watershed is what we call a tributary pattern watershed, which means you have a lot of individual channels that come together into a single channel, which is a very different kind of flooding pattern than we see just over the watershed in the Dayton area, where that's defined more what we call distributary flooding, which is water that comes out of the hills, spreads out as it moves downstream, and you start with one channel and you end up with hundreds of channels as you move through the community. Gold Canyon watershed is a bit different. It has more of a traditional tributary flooding pattern. The two major water courses within the watershed is Gold Canyon and American Ravine. We also knew going into the study that sedimentation is a concern within the watershed. Sediment that's transported during storm events clogs culverts, gets up on roadways with gravel and rocks and boulders, and causes impassability to roads for residents and emergency vehicles. So we looked at sediment issues within the watershed in addition to just flood-related issues. So prior to the current study, we did model the Gold Canyon watershed for the Dayton Valley Area Drainage Master Plan back in 2019. The focus of that study was the Dayton area. And as I showed you on the previous slide, the very bottom downstream end of the Gold Canyon watershed is Dayton. So we did model the watershed back for that study, but since the focus was the Dayton area down at the very bottom, the model within that we developed for Gold Canyon wasn't as in-depth as what we just completed. So we took that initial model that we built in 2019, made it much more dense. We added a lot more hydraulic structures like culverts and bridges. We densified our model so that we have much more high resolution information throughout the entire watershed. We also updated the model with more recent technology and information hydrology that has been developed by NDOT in the years since that initial study. So we developed a new model, and really what does our modeling do? First, we need to know where do the flows come from. So that's what we call the hydrology portion of the study. We know that rainfall falls on the watershed. Some of that rainfall infiltrates into the soil. Once the soil becomes saturated, it begins running off, and that's what you see flowing in the channels and the canyon and the creeks is the initial soils have become saturated, and you see this overland flow. So we developed a hydrology model for 2 storms. Since this was a FEMA grant, we looked at what are typically regulatory storms in FEMA studies. For this study, we looked at the 25-year and the 100-year storm. And then we proceeded to model the flows. How the water moves through the watershed is the hydraulic portion of the study. So we used very dense, high resolution modeling, new topographic mapping that was available to us. To get at any given location within the watershed, we now have detailed hydraulic information such as depth, velocity, water surface elevation, discharge, every 10 feet by 10 foot square in the watershed. One more click. So this is a flood animation. Maybe. Oh. No, is this a PDF version of the, oh, okay. So I had some flood animations to show you in the PowerPoint version of the presentation, but this one's the PDF version, so I can't show you those, but I had some flood animations prepared for a couple areas, Silver City and Divide, and then the whole watershed, but we'll skip that part. So initially the project kicked off in May of last year. We had a public meeting in Silver City at the community center, and we have invited residents from the entire watershed, and we had a pretty good turnout. And we asked them to bring their flood experience to that meeting in the form of pictures, videos, or just anecdotal information, so that we could identify where the residents within the watershed had seen flooding before. That becomes a key part of our study to make sure that our modeling is calibrated correctly, that it's accurate. Where residents report flood problems, we try to make sure that our models match that. And here's a couple examples of some photos that we received, and matching that to our model results. As I mentioned before, we know sediment is a problem. And so we did some sediment engineering in this study to assess, did sediment transport analysis. We collected sediment samples in key locations in the watershed so that we can quantify how much sediment is moving through the watershed and where. And where this becomes valuable is in the future, should a county project, they want to add a culvert somewhere or improve a culvert or add a basin of some kind, we would be able to, the data now shows how much sediment volume is being moved through the system in addition to the water volume. So once we finished modeling, we felt like we did all of our calibration. We felt like we had a really good handle. We wrapped our arms around the existing conditions, flood risk. We felt good about our analysis. We then identified 10 potential areas of problems based on our modeling. Now, back at the beginning of the study, we also worked very closely with Lyon County and Story County folks to let us know where do they know that there's existing flooding problems. So we kind of started with known problem areas from the county's perspective. Then we identified several others from our modeling. Like every project, we had a budget that we needed to stay within. And so part of that project or part of that budget, we needed to kind of narrow down that list to a shorter list of potential projects. But we initially identified 10 areas. 6 of those areas, working with the counties to prioritize, 6 of those areas were selected for further analysis. And of those 6 areas, we identified 9 potential projects that might be moved forward by the county should you desire to do so, to actually do some improvements and into your CIP schedule. So I'm going to skip this slide because that's Story County, but there was one project that spans both Story and Lyon County. One of those projects is at Devil's Gate. If you're familiar with that location, it's a very historical location where the road becomes very narrow. There's bedrock outcrop right up against the road. It was historically in mining days a location for toll. If people were moving up and down the watershed, they would collect tolls at that location. For wagons and pedestrians and cargo. So there's not a lot of room there to do improvements. However, there is a culvert. Gold Canyon itself runs right through there. There is an existing culvert that we identified that sees overtopping during large storm events. And so we developed a project there to improve that culvert to allow more flow under the road and reduce the overtopping on the road there. Next slide. We had several other projects within Lyon County. I won't go through all those in detail. They're in our technical report. But once we identified all these projects, now that both Lyon County and Story County, you have this list of potential projects that are there. Next slide. So we narrowed down all of those projects to 3 to advance to a more detailed level of design to come up with cost estimates for these projects. And again, we reached out to the counties, worked with them to develop this prioritized list. So there was one project in Story County, that's our project number 4. Project number 6 is the one at Devil's Gate. And then project number 9 is entirely within Lyon County at the State Route 341, 342 intersection. There's several water courses coming together there, and the roadway is overtopped, making it impassable during larger storm events. And so we developed some projects to improve the culvert at that location within Lyon County. Here are a couple examples of some concept design plans that we developed as part of this study. We also looked at what the potential benefits would be from these projects. And so In the project 4, which was in Story County, we identified 8 residential structures that were being flooded frequently. And our project helps improve that flooding, reduce that flooding. This shows how much area of flooding is reduced by these projects. In addition to just having less frequent flooding on these roads and less cleanup of debris and sediment. We also came up with some cost estimates for these 3 projects, including design through construction. The project cost column includes the design through construction, and then we also estimated operation and maintenance cost over a 20-year period with a total net present value cost for each one of these projects. We also included in our report a list of potential funding sources for these types of projects. Many of these are FEMA grants that communities can apply for flood risk reduction projects. Many rural communities find a lot of success in obtaining these types of grants. All of these projects that we're proposing are in NDOT right-of-way. So NDOT would be a key partner for these projects and potential cost share with NDOT. NDOT was a stakeholder in this project, and they reviewed our technical work and we had them sort of on board with this the whole time, in addition to the counties. The final sort of component of this study was the public outreach and public meeting component. So I mentioned our May 13th, 2025 meeting. We held our second public meeting on Monday of this week. We had a handful of residents from the watershed come out. I did this almost exact same presentation for them. We had some good questions asked during that meeting. It was a good interaction with the residents. We talked about the projects that we are proposing as part of the study. I had a meeting with the Story County commissioners on Tuesday. Last night, we met with CWSD, Carson Water Sub-Conservancy District Board, and presented the project to them. And then the final meeting is me standing here before you today, presenting this to you. And I think that's the last slide. That is the last slide. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the study. It is officially completed.
I've got a couple of questions. When you're talking about the upgrades to the existing culverts, what is the design on? Do you have secondary culverts, or is it just to get a bigger culvert?
Yeah, so it depends. So it's either a larger culvert or adding a second culvert. If it's a pipe, maybe adding a second pipe. If it's a box culvert, making it a little larger, or other improvements like at the at Devil's Gate. That's a tricky spot because there's just no space to put in a channel. So one of the things that we looked at was raising the wing walls on the culvert a little bit to allow a little bit of water to pond up behind the culvert, which allows a little more hydraulic head and more flow through the culvert and sediment, but it allowed more flow through the culvert and less overtopping or eliminate the overtopping. So yeah, it depends on which project is, but it's either upgrading the culvert or adding additional capacity.
Well, our number one problem is getting clogged.
Or getting clogged, yeah.
So once it gets clogged, everything else goes out the window. So that's why I was wondering what technology went into trying to figure out, because clogs are the number one thing that we get.
It is, and it's a challenge. So the other thing about the Gold Canyon watershed that is a challenge is it's a very steep watershed. If you've driven, I'm sure you've all driven that road, driving from Virginia City down to Mountain House. It's a steep watershed, and so because of that, any sort of basin type structure, that's usually the first tool in our toolbox with flood mitigation, is build either a sediment debris type basin or just a basin that can catch water volume and then release it slowly after the storm is over. That's really challenging in this watershed because, one, there's not a lot of area available for basin, but even adding basins, sediment basins at culverts is a challenge because it's so steep. Putting in a basin would require a huge cut out of the channel And that has its own set of problems and the cost gets to be tremendous. So by adding additional capacity of the culverts, it allows more sediment to travel through the culvert, less of a chance of clogging. But definitely they need to be maintained by county O&M folks, keeping the culverts cleaned out when there are storm events, keeping the culverts cleaned of.
Has there ever been any like automatic features on something that could lift and throw out stuff?
No, there are design elements. So you may have seen in some places, you'll see a box culvert and you might see this large sort of concrete fin sticking upstream, and it's usually sloped at an angle. That's a really effective tool, so that if there's like woody debris coming down the stream during a large storm event, the woody debris is floating, it goes up that ramp and kind of is floated up against the road, and all the water is able to flow underneath, but the woody debris kind of gets ramped up. So small design elements like that can make a big difference during storm events. But as far as sediment and boulders and rocks during really large storm events, those are always going to be a problem. But increasing capacity definitely helps a lot and makes a difference, and keeping the culverts maintained.
Commissioner Jefferson.
Thank you, Chair. Correct me if I'm wrong, I heard you say the county's responsibility, and it's a shared responsibility with NDOT and maybe the county on these.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it doesn't just fall on.
No, I guess what I meant to say is that the O&M of whoever's responsible, typically it's in the county, but.
I have no problem with shared responsibility,
Yeah. But on NDOT, right, on NDOT roads, would be a shared responsibility is my assumption. Yeah. That's a good correction. Thank you.
You looked at looking at Project 9. They're all on NDOT stuff, but
Yeah.
so really looking at that one, $1 million, and they're the ones that are responsible for their own. We can't just go put a culvert in.
No, you'd have to work with NDOT on that, and a cost share opportunity would be ideal, or a grant to improve that would be ideal.
I think getting it on the step of them paying for it. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that put the undersized in the first place in.
Yeah.
Commissioner Casanelli.
Appreciate the presentation. I was just curious on your mitigation suggestions on the numbering of those projects. Are they in any particular order? They're not prioritized in any way?
Not other than we just had to reduce the number as we got more detailed because of the project budget, but they're just listed typically from north to south, 1 through 9.
Yeah, because I see Project 9 as being imperative, and if you look at the slide that, I don't know which slide it was, but showing the depth of the floodwater greater than 6 feet, you can see upstream of that intersection is where it's being blocked. And then downstream, it's not too bad. So that definitely needs to be prioritized, in my opinion. And then I didn't see anything in here on the further downstream, the Shady Lane Bridge in Dayton. Was that looked at? Because I've been pushing with NDOT and we're looking at potentially that bridge being replaced along with one in 6 Mile Canyon early next year. And I don't know if they're going to be upsizing that box culvert or changing the abutments or enlarging that at Shady Lane, but I didn't see any mention of that in here.
Yeah, so when we began the project, it was our understanding that NDOT was going to be replacing that bridge. And either replacing with a bridge or box culverts, and I think it's still under consideration of what exactly they're going to do, but there wasn't enough plan available for us to put that structure in our model. So that would be something that would be the county could update. NDOT's aware of our study. I don't know if they're using our data as part of their design. It's the most up-to-date data available, so they have it available to use to help them in their design, but that's my understanding as well, as that is going to be replaced at some point, and it's
Yeah.
in some form of development with NDOT.
Right, and that was my question. It was like, I've been in contact with them regarding that Shady Lane Bridge and the hopes would be that they would be working with you or at least taking this study into consideration, because it's my understanding it's gonna be a box culvert and
Yeah,
we don't want to just, put another one that's too small in there, so.
yeah, and I should note, each DOT kind of has their own set of standards. Typically, in my experience, most state DOTs design culverts for a 50-year storm. So even a 50-year design storm, we modeled the 100-year is going to be too small. Because the cost, it's a lower probability event, and the cost is generally a lot higher to do a 100-year design. But that's the design, that's the regulatory storm for like flood insurance. And so there's a kind of a disconnect there with DOTs and FEMA and how they do that. So even it wouldn't surprise me that a 50-year design culvert wouldn't pass a 100-year event that we modeled. But the more frequent storms, like the 25-year storm that we modeled, it should be able to pass that without overtopping.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a quick question. It might be to fellow commissioner. Is this under Campo? Project 9? It isn't. Okay. Any other questions? Any public comment concerning this issue?
Robin Biggs, for the record, I've stated before here and at the city hall, and I have a little more information that might help with some direction, but I think all this, what they're doing with the water and trying to maintain it and all that. The United States Department of Agriculture Natural Resource Conservation Service completed an official comprehensive soil survey of Lyon County area, Nevada in 1984. The survey initiated in the late 70s. The detailed soil properties and limitations and guides on land use, providing agriculture use, but I think I got the wrong one called up here. Okay, foundation suitability, limitations regarding shrink wells and potential load bearing homes, septic tank visibility or absorption, evacuation difficulties, shallow bedrock. This is not what I meant to call up here. But the soil survey, it will say, if you would go to this soil survey, that this area, this gold, was it gold, whatever he's been talking about, is not suitable for housing. You just can't do that. And it's an historical area. We're talking about the historical area and trying to, stabilize and mitigate flooding to put in some housing. You need to go to the natural resource conservation in the 1980s through 1970s, 1980s. There was Lyon County, Nevada had a soil survey. It was from the federal government. All land in the state, United States did that, and it was to see where responsible growth was, to save the water and the soils, and all that's being neglected in this state. Other developers have to show that this is good place for housing. They need to go, they have to keep reverting back to this in other states. And when they come to say, we have an idea for a housing, and here we have all the information that this will support septic tanks, and different thing, everything. They have to come and submit that before it's even considered that the county will sell them the land or the BLM will give them the land.
So any other public comment? Seeing none in the room and none online, we're going to close public comment, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Chair Keller, I'll make a motion to accept the drainage master plan for the Gold Canyon area drainage master plan as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. It is 10:30, so we're going to take a 10-minute break.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Yes, thank you. We're going to bring back this commissioner meeting to order. We stopped at number 7, Commissioner County Manager's report. We'll start off with Commissioner Hockaday.
Okay, we had a pretty successful fundraiser for the Smith Valley 4th of July celebration. I want to thank Juan at the CG Bar for hosting that fundraiser. It was a very good activity. The Walker River Basin Foundation fundraiser was at the Boys and Girls Club here in Yerington. Attended that, and very well attended as usual. And also had the Walker River Irrigation District meeting. Discuss issues with the irrigation and areas in Mason Valley and Smith Valley and Mineral County. Definitely some interesting things on irrigation issues. And tried to get in on a Zoom yesterday for a court hearing that I was invited to, but unfortunately, not having a commercial Zoom account, I couldn't get in on that. Didn't want to cut into the court once I finally got online. So that's about my total for the last week or so.
Thank you, Commissioner Casanelli.
Thank you, Chair. Actually took a week off, enjoyed family down in Texas. Glad to be home. I had an opportunity to speak with Story County Commissioner Clay Mitchell regarding data centers and potential policy ideas for our upcoming policy. Got a little insight from him. Walked through the Kids Day at the park yesterday at the Mark Twain Park in Dayton. Spoke with the sheriff out there and our emergency management staff. A lot of good family resources, information distributed out there. Attended the Dayton Advisory Board, attended the Silver City Advisory Board, met with the Builders Alliance leadership, met with the executive board at NNDA, met with the Legacy 49 developer in Dayton, or spoke with them, attended the Lyon County Planning Commission on Zoom, attended the ribbon cutting for the new location of the Roadrunner Cafe in Dayton, and that's about it.
Thank you, Commissioner Hendricks.
I attended the Pony Express event at Fort Churchill Station that was put on by the Stagecoach and Silver Springs Area Chamber of Commerce, and that was really well attended. There were a lot of people there, and it was a nice event. Attended the Planning Commission meeting by Zoom, met with Taylor Allison regarding BDR for community benefit agreements, and last night I attended the Carson Water Subconservancy District where we had a lengthy discussion about the presentation that we just saw.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chair. Really had a real run 2 weeks, toured the New Fernley Courthouse again. Actually, I don't know what year it is. I think it's our 5th year, 6th year maybe. Ran a walleye derby out at Lake Lahontan. And what a wonderful resource that is in Lyon County. Hopefully we don't take that for granted. That is just a fantastic part of Lyon County. Did a contractor walk with the Early Learning Center in Fernley, and that's moving very fast. I had met with the AB 540 Attainable Housing. But listen, I guess to their sales pitch. Apparently, the county is rich and the city of Fernley is poor, and they want to know how much we can chime in. The first meeting I've ever ended and walked out on. I meet with everyone that wants to meet, and that's the first time as a county commissioner that I ended it, but I was not impressed. Met with Fernley city officials and Miss Allison with the meeting. That was great. Appreciate her time. I don't know if she's on Zoom or not, but I wanted to thank her. Attended the planning commission in person till I had to leave for the room tax board. I see we have folks here, but partially funded all, but one of those requests, very well presented and great events that come to Lyon County, and a lot of advertising dollars goes back to those events. So I want to thank all of those folks, even the one that didn't get funded, to know that it was appreciated. 25th anniversary for the city of Fernley. I see Sheriff Pope left, but I was leaving the driveway the other day and stopped by the mailbox. And I got, my son got a letter from the sheriff's department. And he was leaving to go do something. And I spun that old car of mine around and I'm like, is there something you're not telling me? And he's like, no. And I go, why are you getting a letter from the sheriff's department? And he goes, I don't know. So I said, well, you need to open this right now. And it was a congratulations letter for graduating high school. And within that message was a possible recruitment for down the road, becoming a sheriff's officer. So I wanted to thank him for sparing my son's life and me prison time. But I thought that was really remarkable to have received that, for him to have received that. Met with some reps on possible upcoming projects. I want to thank Mr. Haskin and Mr. Henderson for their time. I attended this city of Fernley meeting last night, and I want to congratulate all the graduating seniors from all the various communities. Including my son. He graduated, believe it or not. And then the next day, my wife and I drove 5 hours to a 10 o'clock graduation for my daughter. So it has been a whirlwind. That's all I have.
Thank you. I spent most of my time campaigning and I'm glad that's over. And thank everybody that voted for me. I did manage to attend a couple meetings, the Public Activity Bond Council meeting, and they had a report on the Nevada Housing Division and also a report from the Nevada Rural Housing Authority. And I was looking to see if there's opportunity for us. And I hate to say it, but I don't think there was any opportunities in that meeting. Also attended the Planning Commission, so that's all I attended. So I'll go right to County Manager Haskin.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. Not a whole lot for the group today, but I did want to point out that the Dayton Government Complex, so we are going vertical with block. They actually in the next the early part of July, they should also be working on some of the steel beams and whatnot for the roof structure for the new building. So if you have a chance to drive past it, it's pretty impressive what's going on there, and they're making really good progress. So excited about that. Other than that, we just want to wish all the dads out there a happy Father's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us to elected officials reports. Do we have any elected officials? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointed officials reports. We have one.
Good morning, Josh Foley, Lyon County Council, for the record. A couple things I wanted to inform you that need to be in the minutes. Under the budget authority by statute, I transferred budget from general government of $50,000 to community support function, reclassifying the NNDA contribution to a different function under the government so that we match what the state prefers for that. I showed you a budget time when we were doing that, created a separate department for it. In addition, I moved animal services from the function of public safety to health, which is in accordance with what the state prefers as well. And that was a budget transfer of $716,625. The reason I'm letting you know that is because there's a transfer between functions, and I have to report to you whenever I do that. If it's between funds, you have to approve it. If it's within the same function, I just do that under statute. So with that being said, this next fiscal year, I will also be looking at doing the same thing for juvenile probation, moving it between judicial to public safety, which is what it's almost even split out there, maybe a little bit more having it in public safety versus judicial. And so we're going to make our financial statements more closely match what some of the other larger counties are doing. So that's all I have for you, unless you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to advisory board reports. Seeing none, we'll move on to consent agenda. Consent agenda action will be taken on all items. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and may be acted upon by the Board of County Commissioners with one action and without an extensive hearing. Any member of the board or any citizen may request that an item be taken from the consent agenda, discussed and acted upon separately during this meeting. Does anybody on the board want to pull an item? County manager? Seeing none? Any public comment? Seeing none?
Chair Keller, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda 11A through 11I.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. This brings us back to the regular agenda. This is commission appointments for possible action. Appoint up to 2 members to the planning commission with one term expiring December 31st, 2026, and one term December 31st, 2028. County Manager Andrew Haskin.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So as the item states, there are 2 positions currently available on the Planning Commission, one that ends this December and one that ends December 2 years from now. We have 7 applicants. The process for the Planning Commission appointments is that the board chair makes the appointment with the approval of the commission.
Okay.
Can I ask him a quick question? How many positions are up for reevaluation at the end of this year?
These will be.
I had to confirm if it was 3 or 4. It is 3.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I think I'll give every applicant a minute to introduce themselves real quick. And instead of going through the drawing and stuff, I just want to run right down this. We'll just start and check them off. So Tina Mudd, if you're in the chambers or online.
Hello, I'm online today.
Go ahead, you have a minute.
Good morning, commissioners. For the record, Tina Mudd, and
I apologize I couldn't be there today. I was on the agenda after I had a work trip scheduled, so I apologize. I'm calling you from my work truck. um, but I did just want to introduce a little bit about myself. I actually lived just outside of Silver Springs. Silver City growing up, and I'm now here in Yerington, and my family's in Fernley. So we've been all over Lyon County in each corner. So I'm glad to be here today, sort of in front of you, and just let you know I've got kind of an extensive background in land use planning as well as agriculture and mining policy. So I've kind of worked across the gamut and have always I always try to give back to my community. So when I saw these vacancies for the position, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring and hope that I could assist Lyon County in our growth and development in a very conscious and methodical way. I know we've got a lot going on in the county and a lot of growth pressures. And with that, not only comes wise decisions, but also helping people understand that we have codes and policies and guidelines that direct the development, that not everything's emotional. A lot of it has a lot of forethought and planning behind it. So I'm here for any questions you may have, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to speak with you guys today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tessa, Garvin. I don't see her. So we're going to Ryan Coons. You have 1 minute, you'll hear the.
Hello, I'm Ryan Coons. I saw these vacancies and I am in general construction, family business. Been in the community for a long time and would be sorry, no nervous. Do this a lot. Really interested in getting involved in the community more and planning parks and all of that. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Given the opportunity, I would take it serious. So thank you.
Thank you. Go to Jim DeChambeau.
Thank you all know me. I'll thank you for your consideration and thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have Mike Irvin on? Not seeing him. And then Eric Nelson's not on. He had surgery, so he contacted me and he had a knee replacement. And Jim Davis is in the room.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Jim Davis from Dayton. I'm appreciate you accepting my application and considering it for this Planning Commission appointment. I've had a career and a background in engineering and in project management. I've worked in many industries in the capacity of engineering and project management, anything from mining to refining and power plants and things like that, as well as commercial developments such as office buildings. I've been on the Dayton Citizens Advisory Board for 2.5 years, and 1.5 years of that time as the chair of our board. In that position, I saw development and planning as a very important aspect of what the Citizens Advisory Boards do, and proactively invited and was happy to host a presentation by Gavin Henderson and Lisa Nash to educate our board members in Dayton and the public in Dayton about the planning process that goes on here in Lyon County. You might notice with my application are letters of recommendation from all 4 other Dayton Citizens Advisory Board members. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now it goes to, I'll put a name out there and I'll tell you why, and then we'll go to. Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. This board and I'm not diminishing other boards because I value every and all of them. But this board is really important to the county and moving projects either forward or listening to reasons why. And really, I think a lot of our candidates, from what I can tell, whether they agree or disagree, and from what I've watched, either via Zoom or in the audience, I think our planning commission currently does a nice job of listening to each other. If they have a disagreement or they don't agree with somebody, it doesn't turn into an argument, it turns into discussion. And so there's a couple I don't think fit that mold that are on here. And if it comes down to that, obviously I'll speak that, but really, I think we have some excellent candidates that have great backgrounds. But I think they'll work with people, even if they disagree, it'll turn into a discussion and not an argument. And so those are the type of candidates that I think push themselves up when I'm considering who would vote for.
Any other comment?
I would just like to say that I was happy to see the number of applications and the number of really well qualified applicants. And if you're not appointed today, I'd encourage you to apply again at the end of the year.
Okay, so the first name that I put up for a vote would be Michael Irvin. And I want to comment real quick about Silver Springs. We lost the two spots that we're missing right now are the two that were in Silver Springs that I think they did a fantastic job on the council. And so the reason why I'm Michael out there first, and this is for the one for the year ending 2028. Mike Irwin has been a longtime resident of Silver Springs. He knows what's going on in that community. He sat on the advisory board for, I think, over 10 years. He's active out there with all the development that's coming into Silver Springs. I think it's important to have someone from the planning commission that reflects what's happening there on the ground. So that's the name that I'd put forward to the board. So I'll call for the vote. Public comment first. Seeing none in the room, none online. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Motion.
I have no problem per se with Mike Irvin, other than maybe discussing both candidates to see. I don't know. Who else were you considering?
Second one would be Eric Nelson, another one from Silver Springs. Replacing the two that were from Silver Springs, but right now only one before us because of the dates different. So that's why I will just put the one forward.
Well, and I understand that. I was just curious as to, I mean, we have a lady in Tina Mudd with an unbelievable resume. So that's why I was just bringing it up. I understand at the end of the day, you got to put them forward, but.
So with that being said, then we went to a vote. What was the vote? I didn't hear the vote. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
So 2-0. Okay, then I'll move forward with Eric Nelson. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'll tell you what, we'll just postpone this one until next cycle. We'll move on to clerk treasurer.
Do we have a quorum if we don't fill them?
Yeah. And then there's precedence about this because I remember in the past where it's my we're taking a quick recess while the county manager talks to the DA.
Attorney. Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to 13A for possible action. Approve to canvass the vote for the 2026 primary election per NRS 293-387.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shelby Silvera, Chief Deputy Clerk Treasurer. First, we'd like to congratulate all of the candidates that were nominated during the primary that will be advancing to the general election this November. And to thank all of our poll workers along with the staff in our office for the long days and dedication, as well as the facilities department and the sheriff's VIPs for the delivery of all of our equipment to and from all of our locations. We really appreciate all of their hard work for the delivery that was put into this election. Our total turnout was 12,764 for the entire county. That's a 29.03%. Of that turnout, our highest contributor for that turnout was Dayton at 32.11%, followed by Fernley at 31.89%. And then Mason Valley at 14.42%, Silver Springs at 8.09%, Smith Valley at a 6.92%, Stagecoach at a 4.23%, Mountain House at a 1.9%, and Silver City for a 0.43% turnout. Our highest turnout was actually for the mail ballots at 63.46%. Our in-person was only at a 36.54%. We did mail out a lot of mail ballots. It was 43,833. We received back 8,100 that we were able to accept, which is 18.48% of what we mailed out. We received 1,431 back as undeliverable, and that's to date as of yesterday. 98 ballots are still outstanding, or were still outstanding for signature cures that needed to be done, and we had to reject 128 ballots due to the postmark deadline. This was also our first election using the new equipment that we had. We didn't have any issues with them. We didn't receive too much feedback from them, except for that we think that voters really enjoyed being able to scan the ballots themselves and watch them being cast. We did have one error on the ballot for a contest heading that was missed during the proofing stage. The word trustee was spelled incorrectly for school board trustee District 4. The error didn't really have any effect on the ballot or the contest, except for we do really apologize that it was missed, and it has been already corrected for the next upcoming elections. Other than that, thank you for your time, and I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Commissioner Jacobson.
I just want to thank everybody in the clerks. I can only imagine the pressure and the tension and exuberation or whatever, jubilation when it's over. So thank you all very much and great job.
It's again a lot of sleep that's missed, but it's worth it in the end.
Commissioner Hockaday.
I just want to thank you too. I know it's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Sat down there a couple times and watched all the work that you've done, but you are very busy for many, many hours.
Yes.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you.
Any other? All right, is there any public comment? I have one online, Leah Wilkinson.
Yes, I had my hand up for public comment during the planning commission section. candidates.
Okay, well, let's move on till the end and you can come back to on the general one. Okay,
Yes, okay.
thank you. A motion by the board?
I'll make a motion to approve the canvass of the vote for the 2026 primary election per NRS 293.387.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Casanelli. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Brings us to 14, community development. For discussion and possible action to select a date and time for a data center ordinance workshop to review and discuss the current draft of the data center ordinance and other matters related thereto. Community Development Director Gavin Henderson.
Thank you, Chair. Gavin Henderson, Community Development Director for the record. So staff has completed its draft of the data center ordinance. We had a lot of interest from obviously the public, developers within Lyon County that would like to participate in a workshop. So we're looking to schedule that workshop. Really no preference on date. Understand July is a busy month with the holiday. So like the decision's always up to the board. So if we're shooting for August, I have the calendar open just to make sure we're not crossing over any other meeting in the chamber as well.
So what are you looking for?
Just to pick a date for the workshop.
No, what was preference?
So I just mentioned sometime in August, potentially. I know July can get pretty busy with the holidays and.
I'm good on August 3rd and 4th, if anybody.
I'll be gone the 4th.
You'll be on the 4th?
Yep.
Is there a push for you?
I'll be gone from the 4th to the 9th to North Dakota.
Third works for me, but not the fourth.
Third's good.
3rd will work.
Third.
Yeah, sounds good.
How many hours do you got set aside for that?
As many as it takes.
Okay, so 9 o'clock on August 3rd. So I'll entertain a motion to direct staff.
Chair Keller, I'll make a motion that we schedule a data center workshop at 9 a.m. on Monday, August 3rd, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hendricks. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. 15A for possible action, accepted donation in the amount of $2,145.43 from Meals on Wheels of America and Subaru. Human Service Director, Dr. Shayla Holmes.
Chair Keller, I'm sorry, before we do that one, did you do public comment on the last item?
Thought I did. I do it again.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, going back to 14A. Is there any public comment on that?
Chairman Campbell, is this open to the public?
Yeah, yeah. It's a public meeting.
So there will be public input more than just our 3 minutes like we have here.
I don't know what you'll have your 3 minutes for sure, but I don't know what the framework's going to be.
If it's going to be a public workshop with public input, we should be able to ask questions after they're answered. Or if they're not answered, and follow up on them.
Any other public comment?
I had Robin Diggs, for the record, I'd mentioned this earlier. This venue here was not going to support this meeting on the 3rd. You need to look at like the Boys and Girls Club. Or some other venue, because it's just not going to support it.
Any other public comment?
Let's just get record. I just have some questions on the workshop. Will there be like a public notice to let us know? So that we know like the framework and how we can be prepared for it? Will that be in advance?
It'll be publicly put out. Any other public comment?
Chair Keller.
Yeah.
Chair Keller, my motion still stands.
The second still stands. I don't know if we have to go back to a vote, but those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, now we'll move on to Human Services for possible action, accept a donation in the amount of $2,135.43 from Meals on Wheels of America and Subaru. Human Services Director, Dr. Shayla Holmes.
Good morning, Dr. Shayla Holmes, the Lyon County Human Services Director. For the record, beauty of being an official affiliate of Meals on Wheels America. Meals on Wheels America received a enormous donation from a national partner, and Meals on Wheels, instead of going through a grant process, based on affiliate size, decided to just distribute across all of their organizations. And we were lucky enough to be a recipient of $2,145, and we're asking you guys accept that. Our intention is to put that towards well-needed supplies to support the Meals on Wheels program.
Any questions? Any public comment? Seeing none. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to accept a donation in the amount of $2,145.43 from Meals on Wheels of America and Subaru.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hendrick, second by Commissioner Casanelli. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Brings us to Human Resources for possible action. Approve the Lyon County Personnel Policy Manual with provided revisions. Proposed revisions include increase the period from 60 to 90 days as the time within which an employee must use compensatory time, change the definition for which employees are entitled to shift differential, increase vacation accrual from 40 to 80 hours for the first year, change various definitions, add a requirement that employees are on administrative leave remain available for work, and other minor language clarifications, with all proposed revisions to be effective beginning July 1st, 2026. Human Services Director Ben Evans.
Morning, Ben Evans, HR Director. For the record, I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Any questions from the board? Any public comment? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Chair Keller, I make a motion to move to approve the Lyon County Personnel Policy Manual with the proposed provisions as presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. For 16B for possible action, approve a collective bargaining agreement with the Lyon County Employees Association effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2028. Human Services Director Ben Evans.
Morning again, Ben Evans, HR Director. For the record, a part of the attachment was the red line of the LCEA changes for their previous to this upcoming agenda, upcoming contract year. It's a 2-year contract. I'm available to answer any questions again if you have any.
Any questions? Any public comment? Seeing none, bring it back to the board for a motion.
Move to approve a collective bargaining agreement with the Lyon County Employees Association effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Hendricks, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brings us 17, Government Affairs, 17A for possible action to discuss and provide direction to the county manager in regards to developing a bill draft resolution BDR for the 2027 legislature, which may include discussion on possible topics for a BDR, direction to staff to research and come back with information related to possible BDR, and input from public on possible topics for a BDR. The board may direct staff to prepare a resolution and bring back to the board for further consideration. County Manager Haskin.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. I apologize, Taylor Allison or Director Allison was on the agenda. However, she had a family emergency and couldn't be here today. So this is just our standing item. I don't have anything. We're still working on preparing some of the information that the board had requested in previous meetings, but happy to hear any discussion on or ideas on new BDR requests if there are.
Any comment? Seeing none, and we're not taking action, but I'll go to public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to 18, Comptroller. For possible action, approve a resolution certifying and levying tax rates in Lyon County for the 2026-2027 fiscal year, contingent upon approval by the Nevada Tax Commission. Comptroller Josh Foley.
Josh Foley, Lyon County Comptroller for the record. These are all the tax rates that were put forth in the final budgets of the different taxing entities in Lyon County. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Any questions for Comptroller? Any public comment? Seeing none, bring back for a motion.
Move to approve a resolution certifying and levying tax rates in Lyon County for the 2026-27 fiscal year, contingent upon approval by the Nevada Tax Commission.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hendricks, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. 18B for possible action, approves the resolution for all Lyon County departments effective July 1st, 2026.
Josh Foley, Lyon County Comptroller for the record. There are a few changes. I'm going to walk through those individually. For the fairgrounds, we are removing a fee for arena lights, which really hasn't been charged because people rent the entire facility when they use the arena lights. So that's being removed. Increasing the rental for the main barn from $300 to $500. And that will include up to 500 chairs and 60 tables. Changing the Voschel building to include up to 200 chairs and 20 tables, but the same fee. Because we've purchased a portable stage, adding a fee for that for $50 to have that set up for people to use. Eliminating a fee for vendor booths because we're not actually leasing those out. And eliminating portable PA system fee because we don't have a portable PA system anymore. Figure we might as well do that. The deposits for the arena lights and sound system because we aren't doing those anymore. Deleting that. Then let's move on. Under the planning department, changing temporary use permit fee, creating a special one for a food truck, breaking out of the general and dropping it from $500 to $100 so that we actually encourage participation on those as far as getting the permits. Moving on, my understanding is it takes us a bit of time to provide a zoning determination of unlisted use currently, and we don't charge a fee for it. And so adding a fee for $100 for that. Moving on to the sheriff's department, a duplicate or change to concealed weapon permit, changing the fee from $19 to $15 because that's what statute authorizes is $15. So thought we should be in compliance with that. And those are the changes presented to you for the fee resolution for starting in July 1st.
Mr. Jefferson.
Thanks, Chair. Because this came up in the room tax board about charging campers or whatever, this probably doesn't have anything to do with this, but do we charge a fee if they during, like, let's say night in the country, if people want to camp at the fairgrounds, can they camp there?
So we have a fee on the fee schedule for camping at the fairgrounds.
Right, so who controls or monitors that, let's say during night in the country?
County manager address.
And I'm not trying to nitpick, I'm just trying to see. Cause then, whatever.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So specific to Night in the Country, the Boys and Girls Club actually leases the facility for that weekend. And so there's no camping by participants if they're there.
There's no camping allowed there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they may use it for their own like their staff and whatnot, but it's not open to the public that weekend.
Okay.
Any other comment?
And that wasn't a complaint. That was just merely a question so that I have better understanding of some of the comments that were made at. As you know, where you were there.
Yes.
Again, any other comments from the board? Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll bring back to the board for action.
Move to approve the fee resolution for all Lyon County departments effective July 1st, 2026.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hendrick, second by Commissioner Casanelli. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. 18C for possible action, adopt a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds for fiscal year 2025-2026 from various line items, including contingency within the general fund as authorized by NRS 354.598.005. Billy.
Josh Floyd, Lyon County Comptroller for the record. So the board has taken a number of actions over the past year to authorize contingency. I've summarized those in this list, and there are a couple of additional ones that I put in there where we have in the planning department, we have fees that we charge for subdivision inspections and it's passed through. And so we had some large ones come through, and so we've added those in there for inspection fees. Any questions that the board may have, I'm here to answer.
Any questions from the board? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Seeing none, we'll bring back to the board. Motion.
Move to adopt a resolution authorizing the transfer of funds for FY 2025 through 26 from various line items, including contingency within the general fund as authorized by NRS 354.598.005.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hendrick, second by Commissioner Hockaday. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. That brings us to number 19A. For possible action, discussion and provide direction county manager on public lands issues that need to be brought to the attention of the legislature. County Manager Andrew Haskin.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So the Legislative Committee on Public Lands is having a special meeting in Fernley next Friday at Fernley City Hall, and they've asked Lyon County to make a presentation on public lands issues within Lyon County. And so we went ahead and put together a presentation, but I wanted to make sure that we were covering everything that the board wanted us to convey to the legislative committee. So main thing that we've covered in this is kind of where we are cooperating with the federal agencies. Responsibility. So issues that we regularly communicate with BLM on, for instance, responsible use of public lands, including OHV use, wildlife management and conservation, wildland fuels reduction and stormwater mitigation, development and land use, illegal dumping and code enforcement, the Atlantic Ridgefield application for the Anaconda mine site, and decommissioning of El Dorado Dam. There are several areas that we've highlighted as challenges, including project siting and permits. This includes renewable energy projects and data center projects. Limited engagement with local governments in the NEPA process, which has been a big challenge for us. Alignment with the Lyon County master plan and public lands policy, power infrastructure constraints, and RS 2477. And so really want to hear from the board as to what else we should consider including in the presentation.
Anything to add? Look like anything. We'll go to public comment. Is there any public comment?
Jim DeJambo, I didn't hear you mention anything about coordinating with the Nevada Farm Bureau on their concerns. Also didn't hear anything concerning the wild horse issue in Nevada. And it's pretty short notice for the public to be aware of this and have any input on it. I think there's a lot of other things that should be in this, like a moratorium on data centers and solar projects until the public has more input and more knowledge about what's going on.
Robin Diggs, for the record, this agenda item 19A doesn't have the who, what, where, why, and when. So, you know, what time internally. We did get to hear, he said Fernley City Hall. This is not showing accountability, responsibility, service, stability, strength, and safety for the community. Things are being passed when there's wrong maps, there's wrong information, and the county planning commission says, well, okay, but correct that. And then when it comes here, it's still not corrected and it gets passed. There's not enough, this is not time. And I would think that this would have been someone to attend this, and that could have been brought up that Lacey with, was it about Bob Lacey? No, it wasn't. It was, maybe it was, yeah, Bob Lacey. I would think he would be there from Washington, DC on all this. This is very serious, and it does not give the community time, the citizens who you're supposed to be representing, to be able to have input into this. They're not good. They're not good for the environment. They're not good for wildlife. You're not being good stewards of the land. You're not being good stewards of the people you're supposed to be serving. You're working for us.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we're not taking any action, so I'll bring it back to the board. No action.
Can you give us that date again in Fernley?
It is next Friday, and I believe it is 9 a.m. Let me double check it. Yeah, 9 a.m.
City Hall.
I think so. He can send out that information to you. That meeting is put on by them, not by us.
Correct. This is the legislative committee putting this on.
Just for the record, I'll have my son's orientation at college, so I'll be out.
I'll be out too. I'll be at NACO. So you can reach out to whoever commissioners you would like to attend.
All right.
Okay, number 20, agenda requests. Do we have any? I'll just read it real quick. Administrative policies and procedures 1.05. A commission member or elected appointed department head may request an item to be considered on a future agenda, either by making an oral request at a county commission meeting or submitting the request in writing to the county manager at least 30 days prior to the meeting for which the item is requested to be placed on the agenda. Do we have any agenda requests? Okay, seeing none, do we have any online? Seeing none, we'll close that item. Go on to commissioner comments. Start with Commissioner Hockaday.
No comment.
Commissioner Castanelli.
Just wish everyone a happy and safe Father's Day.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yeah, I also want to wish everyone a happy Father's Day and congratulate all of our graduates throughout Lyon County.
Commissioner Dixon. Okay, this is the final public participation.
So let's just get for the record, just quick, one question. Do we currently have, or will we have before the workshop, access to the current drafted ordinance?
It's public comment. We can't discuss it. We'll find out everything when we.
Okay, second thing is, if you could please set up a format for how you're gonna vote for the planning commission positions, because it didn't feel like you were really assessing each of the applicants. Just a request.
We can put that in on the agenda backup of how that's done for the next meeting. Leah Wilkinson. Oh, go ahead. Mr. Shambo. I'll do the room first. I didn't see you up yet.
On 14A, I would like to request you guys to reschedule that to an evening to where people can come, because doing it during a weekday where most people are working, they can't afford to take time off and come to it.
Robin Biggs for the record. I agree with Mr. DeChambeau. It should be in the evening, and I think the venue could be the firehouse. They could move the vehicles out. We could bring our own chairs. Regarding item 12A. Electing two people. I started out this meeting with public comment is that it's very concerning and a lack of transparency and working for the people, that there is no one from Yerington on this commissioners and or the planning commission. This is very, very concerning. Even the planning commission is concerned about it. They're concerned of the lack of accountability and transparency, that their emails are not available. And I'm not understanding why they're not correcting it. They're wanting the staff or elected officials to help correct that, and this just isn't right. I truly think that that Mrs. Mudd needs to be on there. I mean, we have to have someone from Yerington representing us, because you're putting in these solar panels, you put everything you're doing that is just bad for the environment. And you're not here. You don't have to see the dust bowls, and you know. I guess some of you drive, to Fernley. I don't. I don't know about all that, but well, yeah, we got Mr. Casanelli goes through there. I'm just concerned about how this is all going, and again, the agenda should say who, what, where, why, and when. We shouldn't have to be asking when that meeting's going to be, but yeah, it needs to be in the evening and at the firehouse, so that you're being proactive, accountable, responsible, and serving the public. And keeping in mind stewards of the planet, public safety.
Is there any other public comment? Leah, go ahead.
This is Leah Wilkinson, and the Planning Commission appointments potentially have lasting effects on our county's future. And this is why I suggest a fairness with equal representation by our commissioners. I would like to see, when we do We have 9 people. Let's see the commissioners have a discussion about these people and their qualifications. Then follow it by public comment. At that point, let's have each commissioner vote for 2 planning commissioners, tally those votes, and then make a motion. This would provide a fair process. By making a motion right out of the gate, that is not fair, and it doesn't represent everybody that's taken the time to apply for this very, very important position, 2 of them. And I would even apply this to other nominations that the commissioners make, whether it's who's going to be the lead of this commission, the other appointments that you make. But as you can see, more and more people are very interested in what's happening in our county and what the process is to get representation. I think the citizen advisory boards don't always feel listened to. And if we're looking at a 3-tier system, the Citizens Advisory Board makes a recommendation to the planning board, makes a recommendation to the commissioners. That's our tiers of representation, and I don't know that it's being followed. Stagecoach had an outstanding showing recently at their cab. Did the planning board follow their recommendations? 3-2, no, they did not. So we need to make sure there's fairness and equality in all of these things that are built on each other. There's a domino effect, and we have to start with the foundation of fairness and equality. That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, we're going to adjourn this meeting and go into closed session and 11:50.